few more changes to the goat pen. I've elevated the shade cloth because, well, for one, because it was a total pain in the butt to come in here and have it tied off to these lower posts and hitting you in the face as soon as you walked in. Very not good. Hang on just a second. Do up the gate here so it doesn't get out. Alright, so yeah, I've elevated the shade cloth and just took the trees to advantage here. Of course, this one's tied off with the Connex box. But for the rest of it, took the trees to advantage and just tied twine around the tree as high as I could go. This one I just did by foot. I could climb up there with the ladder now. These two, I went up on a ladder to get higher up the tree to give it some good angle. But you can see it pitches a pretty good shade all the way through here now. The only thing it won't really help with is in the late afternoon, when the sun gets low, it's going to want to come in through this gap and get hot in here. But I think when that happens, the Connex starts to throw some shade on it, so it should be okay. But the other major change is now we have our bred goat pen. So this little lady here, that's Buttercup, and Bluebell's around here somewhere. There's Bluebell peeking out of the house at you. Yeah, they've both been bred. So because of that, their diet changes, so we had to build them a separate pen, which apparently the junior does think is theirs. So we built this pen within the pen. The gate still needs to be hung here. But they both share coastal hay, and they're both on the meat goat feed. The only problem is the mated or the bred does are only supposed to get a cup a day or 2 cups a day, something like that, whereas the juniors are supposed to get all they want. So what we actually did was, since they share coastal, we built the coastal hay rack into the wall of the pen. So you have your gate, then you have the hay rack acting as a part of the fence, and then of course we just have 2 20-foot long panels to kind of make this little odd little pen. So the bred does won't get a whole lot of room to run around, but that's okay. And probably actually what we can do, if we want to, we can let them out from time to time. The key is just not to have them overeating. So we can let them out and let them mingle with the juniors in the bigger pen if we want to, so long as there's no excess pellets left in the junior doe's feeder. So, you know, we'll feed them in the morning. Once the junior does clean all that up, then maybe we can let the bred does back out. But we built another little shanty. Boy, we're getting quick with these things. This one is 3 pallets. The bottom one is a solid plywood pallet, and then 2 that were a little bit thicker. This one was actually a solid one as well. This one had some gaps in it, but we actually tore another pallet apart to get the boards to fill in the gaps, and then use the rest of those boards on the back wall. So that's not actually a pallet on the back, that's just a bunch of scraps. And then on the underside, we've got these nice pine rafters and purlins sawed off the sawmill, and a little bit more of our metal. We're using up more and more of this metal off that was left over from the roof of the house. So another little shanty. You can see right now it's fully shaded, so that's doing good. We extended the pitch out more on this side, and on this side here, and on this side here, just because those are the predominant angles the sun comes from, so we'll give them that little bit extra shade. But again, this will be just a little pin within a pin for the bred does. We're gonna gotta get a drill bit, and we'll mount the gate here. We'll just drill into the tree, mount the gate off the tree. If all goes to plan, this goat pen isn't permanent, but I'd say that give it 5 years. But also I raised the shade cloth, so now we can walk under it, because we got to walk in and out to the mated doe's pen every time. That's why we raised it primarily. Otherwise you could get away with not walking under it. But we got to get our barn here done, and then once the barn is done, the shade cloth can actually come down. So another advantage to raising the shade cloth as high as I did is we'll actually be able to work under the shade cloth and be able to just push it up to build our barn walls. So yeah, a few more changes. Always trying to make changes for the better. But mostly what I wanted to show you was just this little pen within the pen and the shanty that we just got finished slapping together today.